Hi all. Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Good morning, everybody. Okay, I've been receiving comments and emails from people saying that they really enjoy the space pictures that I put up. So we're going to start with one today. Now, this is from a Twitter person or a Twitter group called Black Hole. That's where you can find all these fabulous photos. And what you're looking at above is the Carina Nebula. And this was one of the first targets of the James Webb Space Telescope. I think that's absolutely beautiful. All right, this is going to be a much shorter video than usual because if I don't stop what I'm doing and get into that book, I'm never going to finish it. So I admit, while I do love to read, it's taking me a while to get through the book. I tend to be a slow reader, so I'm doing the best I can do. But so I'm sorry that this is such a short video, but I really want to read today. So let's just cover what we have, okay? Let's go. Well, to start with, do you guys remember that I just put out this story that was in the news that the Queen invited Harry and Meghan and their children to Balmoral, and she was setting it up so that they could be separate from the other royals and they wouldn't have to worry about it. Now, that could be that the other royals said they didn't want to be around. You know, Harry and Meghan, they were afraid they'll be taped, they're afraid pictures will be taken. You know, yeah. You guys remember that. And remember, the palace said that they will be coming back on any stories that were incorrect. They will not allow this fake narrative to go on. And here you go. Harry and Meghan were not invited to Balmoral for the Queen. Why would a fake story like that show up? Only if Harry and Meghan's team floated it. Surely the palace would not have floated that. So no, they were not invited to Balmoral. That's fake. And I think they floated that story because they want an invite, because Harry does realize his grandma's getting on. This could be his last chance to really sit down and, I don't know, argue his side of the case, whatever it may be, with his grandmother. And so by floating that story, he's kind of sending her a message. Yeah, the message was received, but here's your answer. You ain't invited. And now, of course, the narrative has changed to, since they didn't invite, now the Queen is snubbing them because she won't invite them. See what I mean? They flip the script to suit their narrative. I mean, I think we've all seen this before. We all know what's going on. They were not invited because of what they've done to the family. They shouldn't be invited because of what they've done to the family. And now they're like, well, she's not inviting us. Victim narrative, people, victim narrative. Why would anybody invite them after the way they treated the family? Can you blame them? Also, not to mention that they were multiple times invited in the past. And I think one time Meghan said that Archie was too young to go to Balmoral, but then she flew to Ibiza or something. You know, they've been invited repeatedly. They've said no repeatedly. Meghan finds it boring there. So I guess maybe, you know, twice they've been invited, twice they've been told no. By the Queen. The Queen was told no by Harry and Meghan, we're not coming. So maybe she's just decided she's not going to invite them again, knowing that they won't go. There you go. All right, an update on another story. Now, I'm sure you guys remember I pointed out that the Earthshot Prize is happening in December in Boston. And it's at that time that Harry's decided he's going to release his book. Well, come to find out, that's not all that's happening in December. Come to find out, Michelle Obama's book, which I guarantee you is going to be a bestseller and is going to fly off the shelves, is also being released about the same time as Harry's book. Does anybody else find that coincidental? Because I don't. We all know that the Obamas were friends with Harry and William and all that before Harry met Meghan. And we all know that after meeting Meghan, Michelle Obama was unimpressed. Their friendship went down the tubes very quickly. Harry and Meghan did not get an invitation to the Obama's birthday party. We know that Meghan Markle is very odd and has been copying Michelle Obama in a lot of things. I'm sure Michelle Obama was just like, oh my God, oh my God. So knowing Meghan, she tends to get very upset with people, and she tries to get even. And so I'm wondering if Harry's book release has something to do with that. Just my opinion, of course. Now, another reason that the book is being delayed, it's come out, is because Harry is going to use that book to defend the claims made against her by Tom Bauer in this book. So when people are saying, oh, they're not reading the book, they're not reading the book, yes, they are. They're absolutely reading that book. And Meghan's probably having a meltdown. I can just see the dishes smashing. And so Harry was like, you know what? Let's just delay the book so that I can put stuff into the book, and that way I can defend her. That's another thing that's happening. Yeah, they have such a happy marriage. Everybody reaches for this level of, closeness. I'm still not buying this book. Moving on. All right, I have an update on another story for you. Do you guys remember I showed you this picture the other day? That's Omid Scobie and Mr. Jobson. And we know that Omid Scobie is Harry and Meghan's mouthpiece. That's been proven. And for some reason, Mr. Jobson is now in Omid's corner and is in Harry and Meghan's corner. And, oh, yes, you must give him back his IPP status. Yes, he must get his protection back. And you have to wonder, why is he saying that? Why is he suddenly in Harry and Meghan's corner? Especially when this tweet was put up by him last year. And it's all over the internet. He's saying Harry couldn't make himself look more entitled. His father told him to think carefully about the full implications of stepping back from the royal family, which included losing his protection. Now he's suing to get it back. So you have to wonder why Mr. Jobson is doing a complete 160. But one of the people on Twitter, Miss Bays, pointed that out to him. He was not happy about it, and he blocked her. Ladies and gentlemen, that's why the internet is forever. Moving on. Everybody's looking at Harry and the fact that he's increasing his involvement in public affairs in the United States, which he has no business doing. He is no longer a working member of the royal family, but he continues to use the title and grab onto it, which could have royal implications. But the point is, he continually talks about American politics. And it's pretty obvious at this point that he's just a mouthpiece for Meghan Markle, because she's blabbering about politics and nobody's paying any attention to her. So she's going to use Harry to do it, which is making him look increasingly bad. I just don't think she cares. Alrighty, here we go. Cressida Bonus, that's the second ex-girlfriend of Prince Harry who's moved on. Remember, the first one has already had a baby boy. Now Cressida is married and she's expecting her first child. Her husband's name, by the way, is also Harry, but it's Harry Wentworth Stanley. They got married in July of 2020. Now, if I remember correctly, she's the young lady who said that Harry was paranoid and saw paparazzi and people around where there was no paparazzi and people around. And she became very aware that this was not going to work with Harry because he was just so paranoid. And she said he was not a nice person, essentially, is what she said. So congratulations for her. She found a really nice guy. They're married. They're having their first baby. Congrats. All right, we're going to switch gears really quickly and look at this. This is Prince Charles standing next to a 400-year-old oak tree that witnessed the English Civil War in the surrounding area near Restermel Castle. That is, that's the kind of stuff that I find interesting. Now, I've already shown you the statement. The Commonwealth Games are coming, and who's going to be helping out with the Commonwealth Games. But I just wanted to give a little bit of background information that was on Charles and Camilla's site. Apparently, the Commonwealth Games are held every 4 years, kind of like the Olympics, and they bring nations together in celebration of sport and human performance. They are 4,600 sports, men and women from across 72 nations and territories that participate. That is absolutely amazing. And we do know that Charles and Camilla will represent the Queen at the opening ceremonies, which are taking place in Birmingham this year. I think that's fabulous. Now, for those who don't remember, the Queen wrote a secret message which was placed inside the baton, and then the baton was passed from the Queen to Kadina Cox, who is a British paracyclist and sprinter who won 2 gold medals at the Tokyo Paralympics the previous August. And so she passed the baton on to her. Now, for those of you who don't know, this baton, I'm just letting you know, was designed with LED lights, a heart rate monitor, and a 360-degree camera. And it was also constructed with a strand of platinum to honor the Queen's Jubilee. Isn't that interesting? So they can monitor this baton as it's going across the Commonwealth, and her private message will be read at the start of the games, which of course we're already aware of is not, she will not be attending it, it appears. All right, let's talk about what some people now are saying about the book before I tell you my impressions on what I've read today. Apparently, it's being alleged Meghan could not understand why she wasn't more important. She didn't understand that the Queen was number 1 and Charles was number 2 and William was number 3. She couldn't understand why she was not the head of the family, which is essentially what she wanted. She wanted to be more important and in control of everything, and that's why she has so many bad relationships with so many people. So the article says she married Harry, quickly discovered she wasn't going to be status number 1. So she was like, okay, we're leaving. I want to go back to Hollywood and try my luck there, because now that I'm married to Harry, now that I'm a Duchess, Hollywood's going to pay attention to me and give me everything that I need. But guess what? It didn't happen. So they signed a multi-million-dollar deal with Netflix. How many years ago now? Nothing's come out. But apparently they are working on some fly of the wall documentary. Taz put a clip up, somebody who saw the trailer for this fly on the wall documentary and said it really is happening, but man, was it boring. I have no doubt of that. All right, next up, I just had to show you this. It's perfect. Now, this person did not give me permission to use their name, so I'm not going to, but I received an email, and as you can see, this person said that a specific song came into mind as she was walking her dog and dealing with the dog zigzagging all around. And so I decided to put a link to this song. As crazy as it is, I don't think I've ever heard of this song before. So next up on the screen is the lyrics to the song. And in the description box, you'll find a link to the song. So listen to this. It's crazy, but so perfect. So what you guys should do is click the link in the box and then freeze the screen and look at the lyrics while the song is playing. Personal opinion. All right, here we go with the book. My impressions, of course, because I'm up to chapters 15, 16, 17, those chapters. You remember when Harry said that, things were difficult for him at Eton, and he willfully took another boy's property and was damaging it. He took somebody's pencil case, he cut it up. And Charles looked at him and said, listen, things at school were hard for me. They're going to be hard for you. And that is what Harry was saying about just because you suffered doesn't mean your kids have to suffer. That's where that came from. But it seems to me he's the one who was torturing the other kids at school, fighting and cutting up their stuff. Then it goes on to talk about the military. They said, had he not been a prince, he would have been rejected by the military because his examiners were absolutely perplexed by the childish answers that he put down in his entry exam. Then after 10 weeks of being in the plane, he was sent home due to security risks. Now, here's the interesting thing. During the security risks, he had his own protection team who would take him and put him in a bunker whenever there were attacks. That's where he got the name Bunker Harry. Unbelievable. He tried to become a helicopter pilot. He didn't make it. And eventually, he left the army. Omid Scobie, they said, put it down. It was a tough decision. But and the truth is, Harry had to leave because he didn't have the academic qualifications and he couldn't be promoted anymore. So he'd reached the total amount he could do in the army. And that's why he was, quote unquote, forced to leave. But Omid put it in his book that it was a tough decision, but he felt it was enough. That's not what happened at all. Then the book went on to discuss his relationships with Cressida Bonus and Chelsea Davy. And, both women said, and I'm reading right out of the book, he lacked class, he was unromantic, he was unserious, he was short-tempered, he was imperious, he behaved without generosity. And as soon as he announced his engagement to Meghan, we all saw this, but we didn't know what she was talking about. Cressida Bonus put up a tweet that said, no matter how educated, talented, rich, or cool you believe you are, how you treat people ultimately tells it all. Truth. There you go. In the book, he admitted he had mental health problems, and he said William had been his savior. He was a huge blessing. He kept saying you need to talk about stuff. And at that point, he went to a therapist, and he said, once I started doing therapy, the bubble burst. There you go. It was his brother that got him into therapy, not Meghan. The chapters that I read also talk about how Harry took Meghan to Botswana, which is where he took Chelsea Davy, which is where he took Cressida Bonus. She was not the first. This was like the fourth girl he'd taken there. And Meghan had been told by Harry, say nothing, do nothing. And of course, she ran her mouth to just about everybody. She just couldn't keep it quiet. And also it talked about how she dropped her manager like a box of bricks. And, the manager knew at that point that their friendship was over. It was just ridiculous. It's also in the book about how she had her Wikipedia profile changed, about how she Googled Harry, looked into him, knew exactly what she needed to do to hook Harry, etc., etc., etc. It's very interesting the way she set him up. Anyway, that's as far as I've gotten so far. Like I said before, I'm going to try to read some more and get some more in. I really want to finish this book. And I'm usually a really vivacious reader, but it seems like lately I'm having to take a break just to get this stuff out of my head. I don't know if that makes any sense, but All right, so you guys know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for your comments, so make them good. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to be notified when I upload content. If you've already hit the button, double check and make sure you're still subscribed, because I'm still getting notifications from people that they're unsubscribed. I'm not sure what that is. That's a YouTube thing. Can't do anything about it. I'm sorry. Don't forget you can follow me on Twitter, Getter, Rumble. You can email me. Don't forget to write that email address down. For those of you who have donated through my coffee fund and who have donated through the thanks button, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.